Every weekend, I look forward to getting out there. It's a freedom like no other. It's part of who I am. If you ride, you know what I mean. That's why I insure with Shannons. They get it. They share our passion and give us the features riders want, like limited use cover and multi-vehicle discounts. Shannons insure all types of road bikes, not just classics. Whatever you ride, ride with Shannons.
Call 134646 for a quote.
Rare Spares has over 50,000 product lines and releases over 500 new products every year. Your local Rare Spares distributor has what you need when you need it. And as the only restoration company officially backed by Holden and Ford, we take our part in your project very seriously. Rare Spares, more than just a part in your project.
Good evening, sim racing fans. Welcome once again to Sim Racing World TV. Tonight we jump back into the world of open wheelers for round 6 of the Shannons Formula 3 Nationals. We are back at one of the drivers' favourite tracks, Canadian Motorsport Park, also known as Mosport. It's a fast-flowing track that will test the skills and the bravery of our drivers here tonight. It's Cow, your average sim racer here, back together with Hamish Munro following his week off. He's once again in front and behind the scenes looking after tonight's action. But, buddy, you're back to F3 land. How was your week off?
Mate, it was very good. Had a great couple of days searching around WA. Actually ended up having my flight delayed and from 9:30 in the morning WA time to 6 p.m. WA time. So I actually ended up getting an extra day in, and just meant that me and my mate got to go for another little day trip. But Yeah, it was a good time. We decided it was a good idea one of the days to drive 6 hours up to Kalbarri and then back to Perth in the same day. So 18 hours total for travelling that day since we mucked around there for a while. But no, it's good to be back. Good to be back in the F3s as well. Shibby did a pretty good job last week alongside you as the fill-in. So massive thank you to him once again, just to help fill in the void whilst I was away. But so excited to be back. A shame that I missed one of my favourite tracks in Hockenheim, but I'm glad to be back at one of my other favourite tracks in Mosport, Canadian Motorsport Park. I mean, phenomenal track. Obviously, it is based in Canada, and we are up for a sprint round tonight, Cowy. So we're up for a bit of a double of action here. Those who know Hortons will know that reference there for Canada. So, but yeah, based out of Ontario, fantastic circuit, and I am so looking forward to this.
It is one of those circuits that is awesome. If you can put a lap down in one of these F3s, it feels amazing. If you nail it. And this is the thing, the temptation of this place is to push really hard and really trust the car. So, you know what I'm leading into here, buddy.
Yeah.
The same discussion we had at the start.
Oh, yeah.
I think we're going to have a bit of mayhem here at Mosport tonight. So Mosport mayhem. I'm thinking 4 safety cars. What do you think yourself?
Yeah, mate. I'm on the road with you with that one there. I mean, 2 races tonight. Of course, a sprint and a feature. It could lead to some carnage. Thinking that the first race is only 20 minutes, I'm going to argue that we might only see 3 safety cars, but I would not be surprised if we saw 4. I mean, that turn 2 terror that people can see on the track map, it is one line. You cannot manage to go too wide through there. In fact, most of these corners, there only is one line. So the places these drivers are going to be able to get moves done is under brakes into corners or down that long back straight. And it's one of those things where they're also going to have to be careful that they don't blow an engine, because it is incredibly easy to blow an engine down that back straight. So these are all the different things in the catacombs of this circuit that these drivers are going to have to take into consideration over each 4 kilometre lap. But I think we're going to be in for some massive action. I mean, you mentioned, it's a great lap in the F3. I think any car around here, when you are on the limit, I mean, I've driven around here in the supercar, in the LMP2, and the GT car. It is an immense lap, and it's so rewarding when you get it right, but it can bite you so hard when you get it wrong.
Well, looking at those track conditions up there, it looks like it's pretty cool out there. High humidity, partly cloudy, so I think it's going to be pretty grippy out there, and I don't think these guys are going to, complain too much about the conditions. We're going to see the qualifying session only is sort of about 30 seconds away, and these guys, once they get those tyres up to temperature, we're going to see those times tumble. As last week, buddy, we had times so close. I think just about every car was within half a tenth of the car in front of it, all the way down the grid. So I'm expecting more of the same tonight. But the guys that really, rise to the cream of the crop, those DFR boys, they've had 2 podium lockouts so far this season. And looking at the times here in practice, Phil's and Sean at the top. Michael Cutter, he's leading the championship, buddy. We'll have a look at that. He is 33 points ahead of Jay Dixon at the moment, who's 11 points ahead of Phil Vella. Is it going to stay that way? Because we've seen a DFR domination in the last few weeks, buddy.
Well, I mean, I think it's going to come down to, how close that they can actually get. Let's just quickly bring up the practice results just to give people an idea of what these sorts of times are looking like. So Phil Vella, he's topped the timesheets in practice, right, with a 109.986. The only driver to actually get into the 9s in this practice session. Katajar, who we mentioned, is P3 in that session behind Phil's teammate Sean. Now, you mentioned that DFR managed to get 2 podium lockouts. Now, they've had 2 podium lockouts in a row these last 2 weeks, and I believe they've actually at least won 1 race every single round so far. I do believe I'm pretty sure I'm correct on that one. They've definitely won for 4 of the rounds, for sure. They've definitely won at least 1 race for 4 rounds. So
a very strong team, and Sean Malloy, their 3rd driver who's come in this season, he's right on the boil as well. Hasn't taken out a victory yet, but he's close. Michael Carter, our sort of, what we're going to call him, phantom privateer, because he doesn't talk to us. But he's right in the mix. And I know that, we maybe see some team tactics involved when there's 2 or 3 cars around you, the same team. They can really be, they can create those situations that makes it hard for you. And we've seen the Kittens guys do that in the past. We can talk about the Kittens. Andrew Lydon, he is leading the AM class at the moment, sitting in 6th overall. And it's David Gallo, his teammate, that is actually leading the Kittens battle. It's sitting in P4 in the championship. But at the moment, those guys have showed great pace. But so far, the DFR cars have had an answer for them.
We've also got a couple of comments in the chat as well. Greg saying good evening to us, so good evening to you, Greg. And then Steve Tonkin already starting with the banter. Geez, Hudson, lift your pace, mate. Oh, it's already getting started, isn't it, Cowy? I missed this last week, so it's good to be back for it, though. But we're focusing on Phil Vella at the moment. Sean Malloy's actually done the fastest first sector on this opening lap, which is quite interesting. But that could also just come down to the toe. As Vella also goes fastest in the second sector, but we're going to see these times come down a bit. Remembering as well, as we mentioned previously, because it is a sprint round, once the 15 minutes is up, that's it. No more laps can be completed. So you've kind of, if it's getting to, probably around about 14 minutes or 14 minutes done in the session and you cross the line, that's probably your last lap. You're not going to get another opportunity.
Push. It's an interesting question because the problem is it takes 2 laps to get these tyres up to temp. So you're not pushing until lap 3, really.
Yeah.
And that's, we're talking, a minute 10, minute 11 for most of the field for a lap. So, so there's 2.5 minutes before you actually start your lap. And then you've got your actual lap. If you have a mistake there or something, then it's another 2.5 minutes before you got your tyres back into that window that you can push again. So it'll be interesting to see. I think you're going to see these guys be conservative early on, make sure they get a banker in, and then we'll see them start to push that limit. And I thought also, Steve, it was great fun on Monday night, buddy. We were racing together in the official race there. Had a belter. He got past me, and I just couldn't catch him down. I was hoping he used up his tyres, which he did, but his were 2 laps younger than mine, so it was pretty hard to catch him. It was a good battle.
You know what I've just noticed as well, Cowy? We had the conversation before the broadcast about how I went to the trouble of getting everyone's name on the list, and it would only be people who joined at the last minute who wouldn't be on the list to be classified. Well, Matthew Gerard was not on the list that I put into the drivers list for the classes, and I said I don't expect anyone to join the last 4 rounds.
Well, he was here last week, I think. Matty was here last week.
Okay, all right. Well, I mean, I guess if I was here last week, I would have known that, and I would have been able to add him to the list. But
good, buddy.
It's fine. We can add him before next week, which is good. So.
We did have some issues with the iRacing and its league setup. So that last week, I think Race Control was mentioning that it was a bit difficult for them to track things down.
Yeah.
Because we had to run it as a hosted race rather than a league race because there was some things going on behind the scenes. Now, I'm only mentioning that because we've got about 5 or 6 rear grids as a result.
Ooh, okay.
And I heard some of them mention, I know Stephen Brooks, Mitch McIntyre, I think Nick Ryan was another one. I think Callan Hodgkinson is one that's come through as well. I think most of them were for not making it back to the pits because I know the fuel was really tight in that last race. Last week's race. So there was about 3 or 4 of them I heard Race Control mention there. I was trying to get those numbers in my head, and then I had to read my spiel, so it was a bit hard. But
that's all right.
And green and black's screen, they're enjoying that. You can give Shibby the credit, buddy, but I think it's actually Hamish. He's the one that voted for it. I think Shibby wanted him to change it back, but I reckon it looks great. He was telling me before.
Yeah.
But all right, so I think there was a driver on the radio there. I didn't actually catch it, but there may be some impedance happening already. This being one of those tracks where you're going to see the teams line up this toe, because the toe is going to be worth probably at least 3 or 4 tenths going down that back straight. So we're going to see some pretty close times, and at the moment it is Sean Malloy, the third of the DFR cars, that's sitting on the top with a 110.2. But I I did forget to mention it when you showed that graphic of the practice times. Did you notice that it was P18 before we got outside a second?
No, I didn't actually.
Which I thought was amazing. So that's when these guys have all got a chance to really, focus in and hone in. This qualifying is a different story altogether because the pressure's on now. And as I said to you, if you make a mistake and bend the car and you have to start again, not only are you back to that full fuel load because this is a fixed series, but you've got to get the tyres back up the temp and you run out a window. We're almost about halfway through the session now, buddy. And no one into the 9s. They're all about mid-10s at the moment.
Yeah, I was going to say that. No one into the 9s just as of yet. But Jay Dixon could be on for one here. Let's see what he can do to his time. He's got 2 green sectors, no purple at the moment. He's currently sitting P12.
All purple final sector.
And he goes P3 with a 110.418. So that was an absolutely cracking lap from him. Sean Malloy gone purple in the middle sector. What can he do here as he comes around the final quarter? He's got the top of his teammate, but that might dirty the lap. And the lap is not going to count for him, unfortunately. That could have been an absolute blistering time if it had come off.
Sean Pocock with a couple of green sectors, so he's looking to advance himself up a bit as well. That hasn't counted either, I don't think. Is it on 110.6, sitting in P10 at the moment, Scott?
That did better his time, but not his position off that one. He needs to gain 100th of a second to get past David Gallo, currently in P9, as he crosses the line as well. Does he get any better?
Timothy Schmalenberg's got a couple of green sectors. Nathan Verney behind him, green sectors as well. So Timothy improving. Well, he's got a time on the board, so he's still a little bit off the pace of the 1:15.02. How did Nathan Verney go? He's into the 11s at the moment, so still trying to find some pace. But at the moment, it is the top 14 cars that are all doing times in the 110s, buddy. So that's pretty crazy times.
Let's bring up their best lap times as well, so we can just track how they go over the last sort of 6.5 minutes of this qualifying session.
I think we're on board with Jay Dixon at the moment. Have a look there, but he's Michael Cuttajar. Cut to him. He's got purple and green. So now coming around the final corner here, is this going to be a lap that'll catapult him up the top?
No.
Oh, it's a 110.3. He does pick up one position. Doug Gowans has jumped into P3 with a 110.37. Doug and Michael separated by 2 1,000ths of a second.
It is incredibly
And Sean
tight.
Malloy and Phil Vella, teammates there, separated by, was that 1/10th? And then we're talking 200ths, then 2,000ths or 1,000.
There's the interval.
And that's what you missed last week too, buddy.
Yeah.
Pole was won last week by 1/1000th of a second.
Oh my god, absolutely incredible. And I was going to mention before, but it has now changed that it wasn't DFR 123, but Dixon's been pipped by both Gowans and Cuttajar.
Yeah.
As Malloy beats his previous best time and goes 110.181, so they are just etching closer and closer into
He's going to be giving
the
a toe to his
109s.
teammate. I think he might be giving a toe to his teammate next time around, so this will be interesting to keep an eye on. Is that Jay Dixon in behind? No, it's Phil Vella in behind him, so we'll keep an eye on Phil's time because he's going to be getting a toe here. You can see Sean setting it up.
See how much it can affect them. On this
Well, it'll
lap.
be interesting to see if he cost him anything, any aero wash in the middle of the track, but he's in a perfect position here for the toe, and you'll see that Sean will let him through very soon, I would think. Oh, he could be still pushing himself, actually.
What's interesting is Sean's done that time without a toe. So he's actually bettered his best time, which he had the toe for, without the toe on that last lap. So he's that's
Definitely
just raw
orange
pace
sectors
stunner.
this moment, but we'll see if the toe is effective for Phil. No, it's orange sectors for Phil as well. So maybe these guys have used the life out of these tyres. Tyres are one of the things with these cars, buddy, that we just don't get to, a position where the tyres really become a factor, except in those big long races where there's no safety cars. And the guys, well, look at that, broken cars there as well. Yeah, so tyres normally aren't an issue in a sprint race, so we do see the drivers that use your tyres a bit heavier than others, so Michael Carter and a couple like that, maybe start to struggle towards the end of a race.
Yeah.
But
I have to
sneaky
wonder-
rabbit out there, Simpson better win, pull his finger out. So obviously a fishy supporter, Adam Simpson doing it right at the moment. He's done a 1:10.64, currently sitting in P8. I know he had a big moment last week, but it is great to see the piranha on that car. I mean, it only took him a few seasons to get it on there, as it should be.
And a bit of, courting by us to get it on as well.
Bit of prodding, maybe?
Yeah, a bit of prodding. I was going to say, it might have actually been a bit smart. So after Shaw actually did that, Sean did that 110, it might have actually been beneficial for them to come in for just tyres, no fuel, and then head back out, because that would have given them probably 2 or 3 laps to get them warmed up and then a flying lap at the end of the session. They're not able to do that now, because if they were to come in, they'd lose too much time to get that, to work for them to their advantage. So, but, that's just one of those things that maybe they should have thought of in that moment, but I know it can be a bit hard when you get that red mist over your eyes kind of taking over. They've only got 21 cars to have actually completed a lap at the moment, Cowy. There are currently, let me count this.
Yeah, I know. There's at
8
least
cars.
5 or 6 rear grids
Okay, yeah.
that I heard out. So,
Okay.
so I know that, yeah, because fuel was an issue for quite a bit of the field last week, and that final safety car sort of, I suppose, created a situation where a few people stayed out, and then I know a couple of them had to come in with a lap to go. So, it was very, very close for some drivers, and looks like it's called out about 5 or 6 of them at least. Well, there's, what have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and take a couple of race controllers out of that. That's right.
Yeah.
So there's about 8 of them that aren't setting a time. So
Michael Cutter as well. This should be his final opportunity at a lap time. So this needs to be absolutely perfect if he wants to improve the road that he is on. He's currently on row 2 alongside Doug Gallons, only separated by 1,000th of a second, as previously mentioned. It's probably more like actually 1,000th and a couple of tens of thousands in behind that. But once he crosses the line, he's not going to have enough time to get another lap in. So.
Look at the zeros on that timing sheet you're showing there, buddy. Like, there's zeros in front. Oh, sorry, the up to the right side of the decimal point, and all but what, 4 or 5 of those numbers.
It's within 1.5 seconds, all the way down to P19.
But not just that. Look at it. If there's a 0 after the decimal point, it means we're already talking hundredths.
Yeah.
Right, so the gap between some of these cars, there's a 1/10 and a half, then there's 200ths, 1,000th, 500th, then there's a 10th. Now we're back into the hundredths again for the next 3 or 4. Then we jump to a 10th, and then we're back into the hundredths again. Like, the times are so close, not just at the top, but the whole way through the field. When you're 2 100ths behind the guy in front of you, and 5 100ths in front of the guy behind you. That's stupid close.
Oh, it's so close. I mean, from P1 down to P16, it is within a second. Like, that's how close the times are.
But zeros. Oh.
Well, that is the end of qualifying, so let's bring up our qualifying results there for Warren Brown Tools Round 6 here at Canadian Motorsport Park. Sean Malloy taking out pole position, but it is a DFR front row lockout here tonight, Cowy, with Phil Vella coming in into P2. Only 0.163 of a second behind his teammate. No one managed to get into the 9s in that qualifying session. Doug Gowan's managing to just sneak onto the second row of the grid in P3 there with Michael Cutter P4. Jay Dixon there in P5, just ahead of Daniel Byrne, driver 808 out of P6. Chris Swadling out of P7, Adam Simpson out of P8. David Gallo gets into P9, then Scott Pocock making up our top 10 for that qualifying session. And wow, what a it was just incredibly close.
Well, Daniel Byrne stuck under the radar. I didn't even see Daniel jump up in there P6. That's a great result for him. Chris Swadling for Red Rocket Racing. That's a great result for him as well. I mean, we sort of look back at the the second group, sort of 11th and back. And there's a mix of kittens in there. Matty Gerard's put a P15. Nathan Verney probably back a bit further than we would expect. Stephen Sinkovich putting it P20. You know, so, but then we look at back. There's what, 8 cars there that didn't get to set a time. So there might be some bolters in the back of this field, buddy. It's going to be interesting.
Going to be incredibly interesting. Oh, I've just managed to bring up the pro one. I didn't even realise I could do that. Hilarious. Well, there is our pro qualifying as well for tonight's race. And then there's our amateurs as well here tonight. Wow, I didn't even realise I could do that. That's fantastic.
Does look good, doesn't it, buddy? All right, well, we'll get ready for the lights to come up. This is round 6 of our Shannons Formula 3 Nationals. Big thanks to them for coming on board and sponsoring our awesome racing here. We've got a field of 28 cars out there. And here come the lights. Round 6 about to kick off at a driver's favourite. This is going to be an awesome race. These boys love this place. And here we go. Some decent getaways there. Who's that? That's Jay Dixon, I think. Or Phil Villa has flown up the inside. Jay Dixon, I think. Michael Cuttajar with a good jump as well. So I think it was Doug Gowans that got caught a little bit napping there. Oh, there's already cars going wide. I think that's Michael Cuttajar is 1-0. No, sorry, it's not. It's Grandpa, Doug Gowans. Chris Swadling, I think, was one of the other guys that's run wide there. Already on the radio, Sean. It is a safety car moment. I think there was contact involved. And, buddy, maybe 4 safety cars isn't enough, mate. We barely started this race.
One thing I noticed as well, I was going to mention it, but before the race actually started, as the lights came up, Sean Malloy did creep a little bit on the line.
Oh.
So it'll be very interesting to see if he gets a penalty off that, or if he didn't move too far.
He's racing ahead at the moment, and his teammate is slowing up the field, so I think you have just hit the nail on the field. Oh, what, is this a Coulthard moment? You remember, yeah, look, he's coming in to serve a drive-through. Oh, spicy indeed. I think all us Aussies would remember. It was a David Coulthard holding up the pack so McLaughlin could come in and pit at a certain Bathurst 1000 event a few years later. Obviously, that hasn't completely helped Sean as he's tumbling down the field and he's going to find himself well deep in the pack. So, maybe race control might have had some involvement with them, just on the radio saying that everything is under review, but I can see a whole chunk of incidents that maybe appeared up there. There was some crashes. There was a couple of cars jumped to the pits as well.
So I might just scroll through and see if any incidents that may have happened, just so then we can just go back and have a look at it while we are under safety car.
Well, I think we started with the big Doug Grandpa Gowans off track. I think a lot of it sort of started there, coming down that T2. You talked about it being multiple cars trying to go through a one-line corner. Well, this is what happens when you get it wrong.
So he's coming up into turn 2. This is him here.
Yeah. I thought he's gone in hot. I think he's had to try and get out of it there to avoid the rear of the cars in front.
Yeah,
and he's ended up wide. Swadling has joined him for a little passenger turn out there. Then there's another car, so that's 3 off. I can see a 4th one going out on the grass, a 5th, 6th. There's contact. Look at the back there, buddy. There's like 4 cars that all tangled behind Doug. So Stephen Brook, Timothy Schmalenberg, yeah, that's what I was talking about.
7 cars out there just mowing the lawns.
That fixed that camera you had showing that corner. If you can just show that corner, and we can just watch all of the cars come down there. So maybe wind it back up, buddy. But yeah, look, that was one of the perils of Canadian Motorsport or Motorsport Park is this corner. So, and there's like 3 or 4 of them run wide here. Look. And then you see more of them at the back here. Scroll back to Timothy Schmalenberg. There's contact there with Nathan Gardner, I think, as well. Who else is caught out? And that Steven Sinkovich was in there. Greg Johnson, Mitch McIntyre. And some of them have gone straight into that tyre barrier. And I don't know if I heard permission to tow from race control out there, but there's a fair bit for race control to unravel as they just calm the field down.
Well, I mean, that was just Matty Jones saying that's got to be a black flag for Vela, creating an unfair advantage for Malloy. We'll leave that one up to the race control, Matty. I mean, it is team tactics at the end of the day, but it is up to race control and whether it is actually within the guidelines of the racing.
He's back to P20, so maybe saved him a few positions, but I think everyone else behind Sean has pitted, so I think, even if they tried to do that, it didn't give him any advantage by the time he did that drive-through. He's come out in P20th, and every other car behind him has been through the pits as well, so resultantly, the guys caught up that. So I think we're good to go. Bruce from Jace Douglas. I know Jace, I maybe tried to go in the middle of Jace and Steven Sinkovich last night, and there was a car rejoining ahead of Jace, and he bought, not really knowing that I was there, and we created a sandwich, and Steven and I went for a ride. But yeah, good to have you watching, Jace. Just the problem is if you keep making mistakes and end up behind me, and then we end up the same pace on track. Nah, it's all good, buddy. These things happen. I enjoy racing with you. It's just racing, I suppose. And so has the safety car pulled away, buddy?
Let's have a look. It has.
I think they had.
Away.
Yep. So we are getting ready to go green. So we have lost about 5 minutes or so of this motor race. But there's still plenty of time left. Definitely not going to get 18 laps in, so fuel won't be an issue now for this race. But again, cold tyres, they will be an issue. We're looking at a few decent movers in the pack there. I think, is it Adrian Lerrett? He's up 4. Craig Platter's up 4. Matty Gerard's up 5. So's Nathan Verney. Nick Ryan is up 8. Matt Teixeira is up 8. Same Wayne Edwards and Brendan Soper's up 9. So they were the guys that avoided the carnage at the back. But here we go, and Phil Vella has gone straight away. And looks like the front 4 have sort of caught them, but I think Adam Simpson maybe didn't expect them to go quite that early, and he's got caught back. So, and he's got a couple of kittens behind him now as well. So good pressure here.
Behind Brad Hudson. That is absolutely monumental, and I think that would have to be another safety car, surely, Cowy. Look at that car.
I think Nick Ryan got caught up in that, and Jake Edwards, I think, as well. So we may well get a second safety car.
Brad Hudson is over the radio. Can you hear what he's saying, Cowy?
I think he's requested a tow there, I think. So we'll keep an ear out. We may well have a second safety car. They've just given him permission to tow. So perhaps this race might just stay green at the moment. I don't know if Brad managed to survive the first incident. 992 has had an issue on track there as well, so I think he must have got caught up in that as well. That's Jake Edwards. He's been given the clearance to tow, so... Wow, so... a couple of big incidents there, and race control may be reluctant to pull the trigger on a second safety car so close to the first one.
Let's just have a quick look at what happened off that race start. Here's Brad Hudson. So they're coming down in towards turn 1. We can see him here. We'll just cut to another camera angle here, try and get a better view of it. We'll go into the blimp. So he comes in, hits the apex pretty well perfect. And so as he comes around, what happens is he just run wide.
Yeah, he's just got on the gas now. He's just got on the gas a little hard, and the rear's gone. It's one of those ones where he's probably still got a little bit of steering angle in. All self-inflicted. He's lost the rear wing. But who's that that comes through on the edge? Is that what's happened to Jake Edwards?
Yeah, or Jake.
No, Nick's behind him, and Nick's spun there trying to avoid. I think Nick might have actually avoided major damage. He's tagged the wall a little bit. Yeah, that's still going to do some damage to that wing, unfortunately. But Nick was just a innocent bystander. I think they must have been Must have been Jake Edwards in the yellow machine that come flying through there.
So the yellow one was Jake, and then the Verizon car was Nick Ryan. So yeah, I'd say Jake was ahead. He's hit him, and then Nick's just kind of gone to avoid, and that's what put him into the wall. So we are back under green anyway. Lap 6 of 18. We won't make the full distance of 18. I think race control. Phil Vella
He's jumped clear though. He's jumped clear, but more importantly, that 1.6, 1.7. I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, last time we were racing around here, the guy said you could pick up a tow from about 1.6, 1.7 behind down that back straight. If you're inside that window, you get a tow. And now you can see it's like 1.8, 1.9, 2 seconds. So that's putting him outside that tow, and that's a big factor because it means that Daniel Byrne, driver 808, he's up 3 spots at the moment, and he's going to have the tow. Jay Dixon with a great exit out of, what's that corner called? It's a famous race driver. I can't forget the name.
Is it Villeneuve?
No. It's Moss Corner. It was Sterling Moss. So Sterling Moss, when they first built this track, he thought it was okay, but he had the idea for that corner section down there, that big uphill U, and the corner was named in his honour. So, but it was Jay got an awesome run out of there and closed in. Look at this now, closing right on the back of driver 808 Daniel Byrne. But again, coming over the hill there, you've got to be so careful. It's so easy to run wide, and the car feels so light. Same thing here. Well, same thing there, but it's so easy to get on the gas that little bit too early, and the car gets light on you. We've already seen that's what happened to.
I mean, it's almost like though that and it doesn't matter what car it is around here. You almost have to let the car dance. You're almost in like a two-person dance. It's almost like a tango with your car. You just need to let it flow and just allow it to do what it needs to do to get around corners. You don't want to force it too hard, because if you start to force it, that's when those mistakes can be made. So what happened to Brad Hudson on the restart?
I just heard him on the radio there.
So he's coming down here.
I see that car's broken though, the way it was leaning there. Oh, he's tagged the wall. Tagged the wall, and that's run wide, and he's got a broken car. And looks like the wheel's busted, so yeah, he's requested a tow. And I think race control have let it happen. So, is this a moment for Greg Johnson as well as he run wide?
So he's come up over the hill. And he's coming up to the double.
Yeah, so this
right.
This is Moss Corner, Sterling Moss. Oh, look at that drift.
That would have been.
I thought it was going to go all the way around. Yeah, I thought it was going to be all the way around, but not quite. All right, back with the action, and it looks like Daniel Byrne and Jay Dixon. This battle continues. Michael Cartajar has been unable to break his way clear, and look, Jay Dixon going up around the outside, but Daniel Byrne will hold the inside line. This is a corner where you can get around, but he really needs to be in front of that corner, because now you'll see Daniel be able to control the final corner. So yeah, if you do try to get that move, you've got to get up inside and make sure you're on the inside and you dictate that left-hander before the final right-hander. But look, it's still going on, buddy. They're not giving up yet. And Adam Simpson, he's enjoying the battle so much that he's catching up to the back of them in a real hurry.
He is ready to get in on this action with them, an amateur taking on some of the pros. We've seen he's had some pace in the past.
He's on the edge of the track there. Oh, he has. But the beauty is, buddy, again, we talk about it time and time again. The moment you start fighting in these machines, that's when you slow yourselves up, and it just concertinas everyone together. And look at that. Squirrely on the exit, Jay Dixon. Has Adam Simpson got a run on him here? It does look like it.
See if he can get it done down the straight. The tow has got such an advantage down here. He goes for the outside line. Jay Dixon covering his inside. Can Adam get it done though? Daniel Byrne playing the smart play. Just trying to make it a little bit easier for Jay here.
Adam trying to get up the inside for here. So this is it. He's got it done. See, that's how to do it. If you can get up the inside there, you can cross immediately over and not really do a block pass, but own that line. But look at the here, little wiggle on the exit and just gives Jay a chance to take it straight back again. This is awesome stuff to watch, buddy. Great battling from these two.
This is probably one of the best battles we've seen. Oh, that was so
Look
close.
at that run. I think Adam was so close to going out on the grass there that he got out of it. He's done well to hold on to it, but it gives Jay the spot back again and the battle continues.
We were also only a minute away from guaranteed no more safety cars in this sprint race here, Cowy, so we could be on here for 3 safety cars tonight, maybe not 4, but we'll see how race control feels.
I think race control could have maybe called out another
they probably
safety
could
car
have.
there. Could have, but that's all right.
Might have been too busy looking at other incidents though as well, but
Of course. Well, they've got a lot to do, and we've seen a lot happen.
oh yeah.
Matty Gerard with an off. Andrew Lydon's had an off. Steven Sinkovich, he's had a moment because he's lost a few spots. Adrian Loretti has had a massive moment in the middle of that somewhere. He's down 13 spots. So it's just so hard. We can't keep on top of the action, buddy. There's so much happening.
So as they come down,
Oh,
here's Lydon. And look at that, has there been a touch? I think there has
contact,
been.
yes. It says contact there. Just got a drive-through penalty for Matthew Gerard as well for contact there.
Look at this as well, Phil Vella already up 3.8 seconds ahead of Michael Cuttager in P2. He has just absolutely walked away with this thing at the moment. And there is no one out there to stop him right
Matty
now.
Gerard maybe requesting a tow as well at the moment, so something's happening to him yet. I think he's blown an engine there, I think. You did mention that that's a factor around here. So there is, we did talk about Motorsport Mayhem. It's been a pretty crowded race at the moment. Steven Sinkovich has had a moment again as well. And race control giving the clearance to tow, so there has been a, there's a bit of a shake-up here and quite a bit going on.
So he's come around the fast right. What's he done here? On the switchback, does the rear
I think
end
just
go around?
just the rear has just gone on him a little bit there. Has he done well to keep it out of the wall? I think he might have.
Yeah, he has. I think he's about to pirouette himself back around. He's used to spinning, so he's used to actually getting the car corrected, to be fair.
Oh,
But that's then put it in the wall.
you've got to
trying
keep an eye on his relative, but looks like he's doing that pretty safely. So, all right. Look at Andrew Lydon. Something's happened to Andrew Lydon. Matt Tessio-Aero's had a moment as well. So there's still action aplenty. Here we go. So what's happened here?
Oh, that is
It's
way
contact.
too poor.
There was that contact. Who was that involved in the yellow car?
That might have been Jake Edwards. No.
Yeah, it
someone
was
else.
Jake. Yeah, no, there's a different.
Let's have a look here. We'll go on the gearbox. So we can just see. And then, yep, that's contact for sure. And that's what's put
What
him
car
into the
number
wall.
is that
It was
there
the
we're looking at?
It was the Shunts car. Let's just see if we can get a better view of it. Come on, show me it again.
It's all right. Well, we're getting near the end of this motor race, so we better stay on top of what's
Yeah.
going on out on track. Race control will be looking back to try and piece together everything that's gone on so far. But Phil Vella with a 4-second lead over Michael Cuttager at the moment. Michael Cuttager, Daniel Byrne, they're still only a second between them. Jay Dixon is about a second back as well, so things have stabilised a little bit at the front. But Phil Vella, well, it's going to be his race by the looks of this. We're not on a white flag, or no, we're not yet. We're still within about 2 minutes.
Yeah, I was
We'll
gonna
to
say
see
we'll
if he
probably get
gets
about
around. It'll probably be 2 laps, yeah. I think you're right. Well, at the moment, Adam Simpson has fallen a little bit off the back of this battle. He's got Scott Pocock behind him, who's closing in, and Craig Platter is right with him as well. So starting to sort of close up for that top 5 battle as well. But at the moment, Daniel Byrne, can he fight hard and catch Michael Cully? Oh no, there's a moment there. That's Steven Sinkovich. Something's happened there. He's lost the rear of the car.
it up
Here we
here
go.
through turn 1. I reckon he's just got on the gas a little bit too early. Big
Oh,
wide
I
line.
just tried to carry a little bit too much speed, and you know, a bit too much speed, and get that rotation in the rear of the car. It can be really hard to catch.
He did very well though to hold his brakes on that one, I must say.
Well, it's one of the things you learn as an SRW driver, that if you don't hold your brakes, you get pinged for it if you cause another accident. So you learn to stay on them. But wow, it has been a smorgasbord of incidents. But as far as the racing's gone, it's been Mr. Cool, Phil Vella here for Downforce Racing coming around. This will be the white flag, so Barney waving it there. And well, let's see if he goes for that fastest lap again like he normally does on the last lap.
See if he can get it done. It has been confirmed.
Behind him, Daniel Byrne has got it to 0.9 on Michael Cuttajar. I don't know if that's close enough.
The interval at the moment is 1 second between those two, so
Yeah, it's
he
sort
will-
of just
he
staying
will have
stable,
toe,
isn't it?
but- Yeah, he'll have toe, but he needs a really good run onto the back straight if he wants to get this done. I don't think he's actually quite close enough to pick up another position in this race. He has got, though, 1.7 seconds back to Jay Dixon in P4, so it's actually growing at the moment up to 1.8. So he should be, if he keeps it clean over the last period of his lap, he should be on here for a podium in our sprint race at the start of the night here. It also looking like it's going to be Adam Simpson, Craig Platter, and Bruce White on the podium for the amateurs as well.
Well, once we see this final couple of corners here from Phil Vella, who will be the victor for our first of our sprint round tonight here at Canadian Motorsport Park. P2 to Michael Cuttajar and P3 to Daniel Byrne. So a nice mix-up of the podium there for a change. Not the DFR boys controlling it all. Adam Simpson in P5. Jay Dixon just ahead of him. Now, have a look at who's sitting in P10 at the moment as they come.
Nathan Burney. Why is it that this man just always manages to find himself in P10 and then on pole for the next race?
I'm telling you, buddy, look, Nathan doesn't have the outright pace of those guys up the front, but he has the smarts, and he knows how to manipulate things, get himself into that spot to take advantage. And once he's in front, he can make an F3 car as wide as anyone can. So it's going to be a great race number 2. And we'll see how Nathan can go holding off these speed demons. But great to see. And it's just that nous, that smarts to make sure that he's in a position to, be somewhere near the front for the feature race.
Our biggest mover for that race as well was Wayne Edwards, who managed to gain 11 positions off that race there. So he did incredibly well. We have now
Bruce
got our...
White as well, up about 9 as well, so he's having a great race as well. We didn't get to talk much about him.
But we'll see now if Phil comes and has a chat to us during this warm-up period here. Maybe even Adam Simpson, the winner of the amateurs. That's just me putting it out in the world for Race Control to remind the amateurs to actually come and have a chat to us, because we love chatting to everyone when we can, don't we, Cowy?
Well, that's it, buddy, and see what happens when the boys jump in. Over and get our race 1 winner into the green room, have a chat to him. But you'll see, I think, a few of the boys out here try and do a bit of practice. Steven Sinkovic, well, he's had a couple of Spinovich moments tonight, so maybe just using the 10-minute warm-up here to get a bit more practice in, and perhaps you should get those tyres up to temp first, Stephen.
I was going to say, actually, maybe he's using the warm-up just to get some more spins in for us, or maybe just get it out of his system before the next race, maybe. Timothy Schmallenberg as well, who had a couple of moments in the practice and qualifying and in that session and in that race session as well. Maybe he wants to try and get it out of his system too. I've seen a couple of races from him, and he seems to be, he's getting a bit better every time we come to a new track, but he's yet just to really push up on that upper echelon, and I think it's going to come with time.
I think what happens is that the mid-pack, we've got 25, 28 cars out there. When you're in the mid-pack there, it can be up to the gods sometimes.
Oh, I know.
And just trying to survive. I know my qualifying's been pretty poor of recent late, so I'm finding myself in the mid-pack. And although, you know, you can say to yourself, oh, I've been unlucky again, I got tagged, I got tapped. But you put yourself in the position that you were on track. So
Yeah.
you've got to take some blame for it yourself, you know. So it is one of those things. Sometimes you get stuck in the middle and end up with a target all over you. But, you know, again, you see those guys like Nathan Burney who just managed to put it in the right spot when it counts.
Yeah, that is
And
true.
he'll
We
be at the
have
front to lead the next race. That's right.
Ah, he will. We have also got Phil Weller in the green room, so we will drag him in to have a chat to us. Phil Weller, I mean, another race, another win for you, sir. You just seem to be putting it together every single week. I did mention at the top of the cast, I believe you guys have at least won one of the races in every single round, if I'm correct. This has almost been a perfect season so far, not just for yourself, but for your team as a whole as well. How was that race for you?
Yeah, actually, that one was quite a bit nervous after the safety car restart because you're not really sure how much car you got under you, and you know, there's only so much weaving you can do to try build heat back up. I felt like after that safety car restart, the car only, I guess this is such a short track, the car only really comes back to you after about 2 laps, and so those first kind of 1.5 to 2 laps are pretty sketch.
All right, Phil. So here comes the hard question, buddy. Was there a hint of McLaughlin in that pre-safety car? We saw Sean have a little wiggle on the line. Did he have a drive-through?
Yeah, that's correct. He's
So-
got a firmware update that's blown away his clock setting. So yeah, it's unfortunate.
So, but we didn't see a Coulthard back up the pack for McLaughlin there, did we? No, he came out in 20th, so there was no advantage, buddy. But
Yeah, like I slowed up a bit, and then I was like, but I'm not saving fuel this week because typically you'd back off straight away and go into eco mode. And my Mike was coming up the inside of me, and I was like, actually, I better go. So yeah, just got back onto it, but like I don't know.
I think it might have been Michael making sure you didn't do that. So,
The
but no,
enforcer.
oh, look, team tactics are a big part of the game, and you boys, couple of podium lockouts. So, you know, it's all a part of it. Was there much in the qualifying session for the tow? Because we saw, was it you were in behind Sean there for one of the stints, but you weren't able to do sort of green sectors, so were you getting a bit of more wash than the tow advantage?
Yeah. Look, through turns 2 and 3, you probably lose out more than you gain. If you came out of Moss with a really good run onto the back straight, maybe it's worth it. But for me, I found my fastest times when I was just kind of head down doing it myself.
Yeah, I think, I mean, this is one of those tracks where both the aero wash is a massive disadvantage, but then the actual tow is a massive advantage as well. Unsure of how much practice you have actually done prior to this race, but I found that this track can also lead to a lot of engine failures down that back straight, especially if your gearing isn't correct. You know, you kind of, I mean, it was almost just a walk-away race for you in that one, but this one's going to be a little bit challenging, having to start from P10. We have seen you make your way through the field previously. Is that one of the things you're kind of worried about in this race now, is, you know, pushing the car too hard and getting a bit of engine damage on it, or are you just kind of, you know, pushing until you get all the way to the front?
No, like, starting in the pack is not my favourite place to be. I would rather kind of just the standard order, but that's not where we're at. It's important to remind yourself you got 40 minutes. I don't know how close to that 40 minutes starting I am at the moment, but you got 40 minutes, and so it's better just to be patient, kind of observe folk for a lap or two, see where they're fast, see where they've got a bit of room for opportunity, and try to be a little bit more tactical about it. I find here with the faster guys, they won't fight you to the point where you've lost 5 seconds on the car ahead. You know, they'll tuck in and come up with you, because that, you know, you can get a better position that way rather than fighting for 10th and, you know, putting yourself in a position to compete for 13th. So yeah, we'll see how it plays out. It sounded pretty frantic in the pack from the Discord chat. So and the number of accidents that were reported.
Well, the thing that we did notice in the qualifying, Phil, is that, you know, you had to go down to like 17th before you had a guy that was a second slower. Right, so this is one of those tracks that everyone has done laps in this car, and probably more than a few. So, you know, that's one of the things, man. These guys have got some pace in that mid-pack, so I think you might have your work cut out for you, buddy.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, you know, we're only split by like a tenth or 2/10 across those first 5 or 6 folks. So, yeah, I got to be careful tonight that they don't just walk away from me.
Well, buddy, we better let you go. You got about 2.5 minutes before the grid will come up. But congratulations on your win in race number 1, and let's see how brave you are for race number 2, buddy.
Thanks, guys. Don't give me the commentator's curse if you do anything for me.
Oh, buddy, I probably have already, mate. So you just have to walk around with that monkey on your back, buddy, and we'll see how you go.
Cheers, guys. Have a good one.
I did chip last hard. Sorry, go.
I was going to say, a bit of a chip on his shoulder now that we've mentioned that to him, but...
Well, I did try to ask the hard question. He was rather coy there, which is fair enough. I mean, it's one of those things we do know that, you know, you try to work for your teammates and work where you can, but yeah, I think Michael maybe kept him a bit honest and made sure that didn't happen. Good gamesmanship from the boys, so... I think it all adds to the spectacle. I love when there's a bit of spice behind the scenes. I do say to everyone out there, if you've got dirt on your favourite driver, let me know. Because, you know, I love digging for dirt. I love throwing it up out there too, so... But we're going to talk a little bit maybe about the fuel numbers for this second race, buddy. So, 1.0 to 1.1 per lap. These guys, that's how much they're using. So there's not a lot of opportunity to save. And the car holds 19.1 litres. So the guys were saying if the race went 18 for the laps for that first race, it would be interesting fuel-wise. So
I think
we're going to have to keep an eye out. Well, I think, you know, I think we're likely to see at least one more safety car. I've predicted 2 more. It's going to be interesting where that falls, because if you've got guys that are pitted early on in the race to repair or deal with damage, say pitted on lap 4 or 5, and then there's another safety car later on, that starts to open them up to being able to stay out for that second safety car, get some track position, and still get home. So I think this one might be an interesting ploy, and I think some of those faster guys that are a bit further back in the pack, they may be able to play the strategy game to get them out of that too.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a whole heap of different options here for a strategy play in terms of your fuel numbers and even your tyre wear as well. Being that it is a 40-minute race, it's going to be around about 35 laps, maybe 30 laps in this one. So you'd argue it's probably only going to be a one-stop race if it is on that 30-lap sort of marker. Being that they probably would have gotten about 15 laps worth of fuel out of the car in the last race if there was no safety car, which we went about, I think it was
17, 18 was what the guys were saying. You know, you could probably do 18 with a little bit of a save. 17 is definitely on the cards. So, you know, that's where it's at. But, buddy, you better put that grid up quickly, because we've got less than about 30 seconds. It will be Nathan Verning and Sean Malloy sharing the front row. Bruce White and Craig Platter, P2. So both those boys did well to get inside the top 10. Scott Pocock, Adam Simpson, Jay Dixon, Daniel Byrne, Michael Carter-Jar and Phil Vella will bring up row number 5. Doug Gowans, Nathan Gardner surviving to recover to 11-12. Chris Swaddling, Andrew Lydon, Wayne Edwards, Stephen Brooks, David Gallo, Timothy Schmalenberg, Greg Johnson and Brad Hodgson rounding out the top 20. I better stop there because these guys are about to go green. Here come the lights. And it is the start of our feature race, 40-minute feature race. Good launch from Nathan Verney. Also Sean Malloy strong alongside him. I think Bruce White had a good run as well. So far, things are they are. Scott Pocock maybe the early mover. But again, we're going to see 2 wide into T1. What carnage is this going to create, buddy?
Someone was
it's looking good so far.
Someone was off the
Is
side of
that
the track,
the-
off the exit of turn 1, just back a bit, but Verney's already lost the position out to Sean Malloy. Sean, actually, interestingly enough, starting at a P2 in this race. He finished P9 in the last one. Could not be more of a perfect position for him to start in this race, and it's now going to allow him just to walk away with this at the moment.
Oh,
We
no,
know the
Verney
pace
went a
that
bit-
he's got.
Verney went a bit wide there. That's going to cost him time. Craig Plater behind him is probably going to get a bit of a run here. And already on the back of Nathan Verney. And we've had a moment here. Matty Gerard for Velocity Sim Labs. The car has gone into the wall. We may well see another safety car to keep an ear out.
We'll go back to the replay once this lap has been completed, but Malloy already, look at the gap that he has created back to Verney in P2 here, Cowy. He's just stretching his legs right now. He's got the jets turned on, and he is looking to have an easy night tonight if he can keep this clean, but they are slowing down. So I'd say we've actually got a safety car on hand.
Safety car is on track, so wow. So we got half a lap for race 1 and about half a lap for race 2 before the safety cars come out. So already early on, so it was Matty Gerard with the moment there, but we've also got Mitch McIntyre and Nathan Gardner have gone into the pits as well. So what's happened there to Matty? Is he just gone in hot? That car broken. That car is broken there. You're going to have to wind it back maybe, buddy.
Yeah, we will. Let's see if this will do it for me. Yep, so it comes around turn 2, up into turn 3. Under
Oh, he's
brakes,
just
he's
outbroke
lost-
himself, I think, there, yeah. And yeah, you can just see the rear suspension of that car not looking the best.
Stephen looks here. I believe this is the car I saw at the start on the outside of the track. Just runs it wide.
Oh,
onto
has he
the
done well to
grass.
keep it out of the wall? He's done well. Well, it's created its own carnage there. Oh, that's some great driving. I think it's that Timothy Schmalenberg, Stephen Brooks in that as well. Some good driving there because those boys could have easily, balked with his rejoin. And race control may well have a look at that. We'll have to see what happens. But yeah,
The
that's
safety
good
car
driving there.
already pulling away as well, Cowy. Also, you said you called 2 more safety cars. We've actually got, well, now it's 2 more that we've had one for your prediction because we only had 1 in the first race, if you recall.
Right, I went for 4. You've gone for 3. So
Yeah.
it's close.
Oh,
But
it is.
But race control, 1 lap was enough because the field was still pretty compressed. And I think it was the driver that towed doesn't get to take advantage of any, getting their lap back if you're the one that causes the incident. Oh, he's gone already. Again, Sean Malloy going early. So,
Nice and early off the start. Look how he goes here into turn 1.
they Plater putting some good pressure on Nathan Verney there as well too. But they've caught quite a bit of the field napping. Look at the spread already. So no one expected him to go so early. And we're already seeing gaps of half a second between these guys right off a restart.
Also, Chilingo in the chat just expressing what is the obvious, that it is a game. Well done. Congratulations, you figured it out like we didn't.
It
know
is
already.
a simulation, my friend. It's not a game, it's a simulation.
Oh, well, I mean, to be fair, it's a realistic game, you could claim, because it is made as a game with coding and all that other stuff. But it is to be a close simulation of what you could do in real life. So it's at the core of it, it's still a game, but it is to simulate racing. So.
Oh, okay, so Craig Plater getting up all around the outside of Nathan Verney. Is he going to be able to hold that around the outside? He has done it nicely into the final sweeper section there and goes up into P2. Bruce White doing pretty well to stay with these guys as well. And Scott Pocock and Jay Dixon. So Phil Vella's up only 1 spot so far, so he did say he was going to take it calm and steady. He's gone all right, and Adam Simpson down a couple of spots. Jay Dixon and Daniel Byrne getting him, I think, on that first lap there. But things are settling down, buddy, and another 35 minutes, so not quite the long haul, but let's see how long these guys can keep it clean for.
Well, as they make their way round up into 5, 6 and 7 here, just nice and tidy at the moment. This is one of the more difficult corners on the circuit. They are just trying to, and I think maybe there's a little bit of calmness about this now as well. I think they've actually kind of looked at themselves and realised, oi, we've got one lap in both races and got the safety car. Maybe it's just time to take it easy. It's a long race.
Something's happened to Stephen Brooks. I think I just heard a safety car call, so something major has happened. And we got broken car bits, haven't we?
Look at this.
So he's run wide, got out on the grass. Those tyres there are unforgiving. He's come back out on the track.
Oh, that was wild.
He's held his brakes. No, he's done the right thing. He's held his brakes, but yeah, and that car's not going anywhere. You can see the right wheel in the air, and I think the left wheel in the air, so it ain't going anywhere. All right, so we only got a couple of minutes action there, buddy. Things bunched back up again. I reckon that Craig and Nathan and Bruce and Scott, they're all going to be ready for Sean to go early this time. So to see how they played it so far, Phil's gone early, Sean's gone early.
I'm sweating a little bit
the way to
now,
go.
because we're only 5 laps into this race and we're already at my predictions. So, oh, maybe I was too nice. I was tempted to say 5 safety cars, but I didn't think we would get 4 in the second race, if I'm honest.
Well, I was going to say, buddy, I don't know if my 4 is sitting all too pretty at the moment either. My 4 prediction.
I think I'm actually am I the only one of us to actually get it right so far this season?
Yeah, we've sort of struggled. I think you got it right the first night we called it. First night we called together, buddy.
I thought it might have been, was it Hungaroring? I think I said we'd have 3, and I think we did.
Okay, might have been.
Something like that, but...
I don't know, I've been having these bets for a while now with my co-commentators, so, you know, they're, just to add a little bit of spice, and, I thought I heard the safety car saying he was going to pull away, but by the looks of that, we're going to do another lap, I think. Yeah. So maybe it was some, we might see if Matty Gerard maybe will get his lap back here. Anyone else down on a lap that's in the pit? The moment Brendan Soper and Stephen Brooks are still in the pits. So we didn't see what happened to Brendan. Okay, one more lap advised by race control for the safety car. So we've got another couple of minutes to catch a breath, buddy. But already the Shannons Formula 3 Nationals are putting on one hell of a show. These boys pushing hard at a place they like to drive.
Yeah, and I think, you know, this track is just such an absolute... It's such a great track for these cars, honestly. And I think, you know, next week as well, we have a track that, I mean, depending on if we're actually running, it's a normal race weekend next time out, or a normal race night. It's out at Road America. So I'm going to assume we're actually going to be running the full circuit. That might be a circuit that doesn't necessarily actually lend itself well to safety car carnage, but maybe strategy carnage. And then I think Zandvoort the week after could lend itself to some good carnage, but
this season has been a majority of tracks chosen by the drivers, so we're getting lots of these favourites that they know fairly well, but not only that, they're well suited to the car. There's a decent setup for the car. Remember, this is a fixed setup series, so everyone's on the same setup, so there's no wing advantages or anything like that going on. They're all stuck with exactly the same numbers. You'll note that none of the front runners have pitted yet, so it's still too early in this race to think about getting home. I think if there's another safety car, we may well see a few guys tempted to see if they can poach a few positions. Remember, we're talking, what, about 20 minutes of fuel?
Yeah, and we're edging closer and closer to the 10-minute mark in this race. I think if there's another safety car... well, actually, think about this now. We've already had 2 safety cars. One went around for 1 lap. This one's gone around for 2 laps as it's coming into the pits once again. If we get another safety car, that means they've probably gained maybe about 1.5 laps worth of fuel, maybe 2 laps worth of fuel on the safety car. So it's kind of up in the air what the strategy play could actually be at the moment, Cowy, just based on the fact of, you know, they've gained this little bit extra fuel. Maybe they could actually go to lap 20 and then underfuel the car for the last, what would actually be 10 laps, because we've lost a couple laps now due to the safety cars. So it's kind of, it's all up in the air a little bit.
I'm expecting maybe a couple of gamblers at heart to come out here and go, okay, if there's a safety car around about that 17, 18 minute mark, we can get home, right?
Sean
Maybe
Malloy's
even
already gone. Just quickly
there we
go.
go. He has, but looks like the leaders have, caught on to that strategy. And you can see there the top 8 or 9 cars all sort of a lot closer this time around on the restart.
So yeah, so I think we're probably, if we get another safety car, I think we're actually probably going to get about 30 laps out of this race. Now, if they're getting about 18 laps worth of fuel and they've had a couple of safety cars, you could argue they could go to about lap 20 and then just underfill the car for probably about 11 laps worth of fuel because they need the extra lap to get home after the race is finished. That's then going to save them a little bit of time in that pit stop, meaning you could probably actually come in maybe around lap 9, as early as lap 9 to get home, just to get that extra 11 or so laps into the car.
I'm thinking we're about 11 and a half minutes into this race, so I think, these guys are probably going to need another 5 or 6 minutes of green flag running before they would start to think about that.
Maybe
but
lap
at the
12.
moment, they do have, we've done probably only about 5 or 6 minutes of actual racing, so, you could say they've used half as much fuel or a third as much fuel during that period, so they probably saved, 2, maybe 3 laps under the safety car. So,
I'd
so
say they're probably
I think you're
saved
right.
about about a lap's worth at the moment. I would argue maybe a lap and a half.
Well,
Really
it's interesting.
depends.
Well, what you said there, that idea of pushing right out to lap 20, you may well see a few of these guys that have got track position will be reluctant to give it up. They'll run long in case something happens.
Yeah. I think
Right?
that we've definitely, if we get one more safety car, it will for sure, I think, only go to about lap 30. And I think if these drivers know that, they'll know, well, actually, we can save some fuel here on this pit stop. We don't actually need to fulfill the car. So, as long as they've done their fuel numbers beforehand, before this race, they should know how many litres they need on that refill. And if they've got a button box, for example, they can set up a button which puts a certain amount of fuel into the car.
Well, iRacing has made it a bit easier for us now with the auto fuel thing. I mean, you used to get third-party programs to do that, so I suppose iRacing have just said, well, we might as well put it in because everyone's using third-party software to do it anyway.
Yeah.
So,
I would
fuel,
argue
but
that the auto fuel system, it gets confused though if you actually have safety cars. Because you're not
it
actually,
gets timed races, yes.
Yeah.
When they're timed races and you can't define the exact number of laps, very, very true, buddy. And that's where sometimes you have to have your bit of nous there to say, I'm going to need a bit extra. Also, we may see these guys that will go, I can shave a bit more off that because it's overfilling me.
Yeah. So I would say we're probably about a lap or two away from maybe actually seeing some gamblers come into the pits and just fill the car back up and try and get all the way to the end. Because if they're smart, they might think, hey, we're actually probably going to get another safety car in this race.
Is that Nathan Burney? He's dropped back, so I know Nathan had a bit of a moment there. A couple of moves, but Bruce White and Jay Dixon have got past Nathan now. And he's falling into the clutches of Scott Pocock behind it as well, so can't see any incidents up there or anything.
No.
So, Bruce White passing Jay Dixon, and then Bruce has got Jay back again. So, but look at this nice little battle brewing here, and that is Jay Dixon going up the inside of Bruce White. Bruce will have the inside line. Is Jay going to try and sweep around the outside? Bruce can feed him out there a little bit, and I think Jay might have been a bit aware to that, and it's just slotted back in behind. So, yeah, you got to be careful to get caught on the outside. You might get Max Verstappen if you get out there and run out to the grass.
And look at this as well, Craig Platter just trying to hang on to the back end of Sean Malloy at the moment. The gap is only out to about 8 tenths of a second. Oh, that's a big moment though.
Craig Platter's had a moment. Sean Malloy's had a moment. Oh, Malloy's pointing the wrong way, so that's going to cost him dearly. I think that perhaps Craig got away with that. He's lost 5 positions there, Craig, but that could have been a lot worse, and we're seeing, Sean Malloy is tumbling right down the grid. He's like second last or third last now. So that was costly indeed. And completely, probably cold tyres, just their own moment. And Jay Dixon back out in front. So Sean Malloy is probably going to find it hard to break that that barrier of his first SRW win. Please correct me there, boys, if I've got that wrong. I don't believe Sean's picked up a win. I think he got a podium on his first night, but not a win.
I don't think he's actually taken a win in the F3s. Now might actually be the time for him, though, to really just gamble on that pit strategy we've just been talking about, Cowy, because he's down the order. You know,
Yeah.
he's come into the pits as well. He's come in.
Yeah, he's come in, so he might have picked up a bit of damage there, maybe as well, or he's just gone, no, I've got to roll the dice. And, you know, again, yeah, I suppose if you put in that position, you might as well try and get yourself some clean air and see if you can do it.
Let's just see if he goes up to take tyres. That is a stop.
No tyres, so just
No.
fuel, and he will be filled to come home. Most likely used his fast repair as well, just to make sure, because his plan is not to come back in the pits again. So I have to see if he's got a save, or is he relying on another safety car. Look at the action back behind this battle as well. Nathan Burney, Phil Vella, Daniel Byrne, all starting to get in on the action, and Craig Platter, well, oh, Adam Simpson is on the radio. Something's happened to Adam Simpson as well, and he's asking race control to have a look. Sean's a wiener in my heart, Monty says. Well, unlucky for Sean. He has played a strategy card, so we'll have to see how that plays out. Can you get a look to see what happened to Adam Simpson there, buddy?
Yeah, mate, it's come up on screen just now. So up at the fast right-hander, inside line.
Gowans alongside him, was it? No?
Yep, it does appear to be Doug Gowans. Oh,
0-7.
That looked... I don't know, we don't really like to surmise of what might have happened. But that did appear to be maybe some net code. Oh, that's Nathan Verney. That's not the one we're after, but I've looked at this one regardless. We'll scroll back up. So he's come up here to...
Oh, so this Nathan's gone deep and done the same thing. And he's right and run. Oh, Phil Vella had his heart in his throat there. And he's somehow avoided, and Nathan's rejoined then. Was that safe? We missed the end of that.
We'll have a look at
So
it in
here's
just a
what
moment.
happened to Adam Simpson.
So they're coming up around the fast right. You see here, plenty of room given from the grandpa alongside him. Simpson gets the run. Gowan's going to come up alongside him once again. You'll see it on the left-hand side of screen. So as they come round, is there net code or is there contact? The rear end's already gone, maybe.
There was a tap there, I think we did see it, but whether or not it was a net code one or not, we'll leave that to race control to decide. But wow, Adam Simpson having a moment there, but Nathan Verney, that has cost him a whole heap of positions as well. He's back in P12 now, just losing the rear of the car, and unfortunately, you know, ending up in a situation where, you know, he caught out there, he's just gone too deep, just caught it, and oh, how close was Phil Vella to losing a wing there. Right, he's got restarted. A lock up there from Andrew Lydon, but he stayed on the inside, so race control may well have a look at that as well, but that's what they get paid the big bucks for, buddy.
So
You gotta love this place, man. It creates some action, doesn't it?
It's so good. It is so good.
Alright, that's Matt Tessiera going down a lap, unfortunately, having to come in and pit. Bruce White having a cracker of a race. He's running P2 and he's only a second off Jay Dixon at the moment. So I know Bruce is a big fan of Motorsport Park. He loves this place. And you can see it in his pace, having a great run.
He's going so well at the moment. I have been told to turn my mic up a little bit.
Jay Dixon with a moment there. He's gone off at my corner as well. So it's starting to pick off even our super fast guys. That shows you how quick these guys are, how quick you've got to race to stay out front. And a moment from both of our race leaders and even a couple of the guys running in those points positions as well.
So he is now
Wow.
down into P3. 14.
14.
And look at
Wow.
this. Look who's leading at the moment. Jason Douglas.
Oh,
Oh,
Bruce
but
is
that was
right
the
as
moment.
well.
I was about to say Jason Douglas will have his heart in his pants at the moment because Bruce White is leading this race, or in his pocket, I should say. His heart in his pocket.
DJF Racing just saying turn your mic up a
Yeah,
little bit, buddy.
I did mention that. Yeah, I've done that, so hopefully it is better now. But Bruce White leading the way at the moment. Leading from the front is the amateur. And look at him go right now. You mentioned he had some good pace about him. He's got about nearly 8 tenths of a second over Scott Pocock in P2. But Phil Vella is just sneaking in the background at the moment, Cowy. He's only 4 tenths off. Scott just ahead of him, and he could be on here.
I want to ask him if he does make it onto the podium. I'm going to ask him if there's any paint on that front wing, because that was a moment that was definitely might have been a brown pants moment, and he survived somehow. Now getting a run on Scott Pocock. Is he going to have the speed to sweep around the outside? Looks like he has got the speed down there, yeah. Well, that's how you've got to do it. But you can see there, he's right on the edge, because that rear of that car did step out a little bit there, and he's run wide.
And we are about halfway
Soper,
round.
something's happened to Brendan Soper. He's requesting a tow. You see him there, turned around in the wall. This might be safety car number 4 here, buddy.
My fingers and toes are crossed right now, Cowy, for it to not be a safety car.
Oh, he's just run wide there. I think maybe he was
Clipped
letting
a bit
that
of
car
grass.
through. I think.
Yeah.
Well, I think he got offline to let that fast car through, and in the moment of that, that's where the mistake's been made. I can't hear anything from race control at the moment.
Well, we are past the halfway point of this race, 22 minutes into it out of 40.
It's
There's
just
about
a yellow flag for sector 1 at the moment, so maybe race control deciding not to pull the trigger. No, letting him tow there now. Phil Vella getting a run up the inside of Bruce White. I'm pretty sure Bruce would think Phil's way quicker than me. I just can't fight him, so he's going to try and see if he can use Phil's tow to keep his position. So I think Bruce may be playing a smart play there by, an AM driver. There's no point battling hard, make a mistake, fighting off these quick guys. Try and sit in behind them and learn from them.
I think he knows that he could be on here for an amateur victory. I mean, he's got a fair bit of time over Craig Platter. There has been a report from race control incident involving cars 222 and lap 7 and car number 7 on lap 11. There's been no further action taken for those two drivers. So that was Adam Simpson and Doug Gowan. So that was the moment that we saw. So I reckon there was a bit of net code in it, Cowy, and I think that's what race control's actually surmised as well. Matt Tesciero's had an incident. Let's quickly have a look.
Perhaps to just a racing incident as well.
Yeah, for sure. So he's come round up into the final corner. Oh, that is that is absolutely wild.
Oh, a bit of grass there that spun the whole rear end. He's done well to avoid anyone. That's pretty good there, and we're starting to see. Well, I think we're starting to see cars coming to the pits there, so that maybe might have saved him a bit there too.
I reckon he may have actually thought to himself, oh, actually, I meant to come into the pits this lap, and then it's just caught him out, and that's what's then caused him to have the pirouette into the final corner, but unsure on that one.
Chris Swadling just on the radio there, ready to see if anything had happened to him.
He's in the pits at the moment.
Okay. He might have just been letting the car behind him know that he was pitting in. Sometimes, if you're in a close battle with someone, it's a good idea to let them know that you're going to pit so that they know you're braking a bit earlier or you're going to take a different line. But if you're looking to go up the inside of them into the last corner and they're looking to go into the pits, that could be a recipe for disaster.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But look at this, though. Vella, I mean,
Bruce
is hanging with him at the moment.
Yeah, he's just, he doesn't have the pace to maybe fight Phil off, but he can use Phil's toe and stay close. And I tell you, Bruce has jumped over and is doing some racing in the V8s at the moment too, and I know he's had a couple of better results than me. But he really loves these open wheelers, and these are the cars he prefers to drive. So, it's good to see him. He's making the call to come into the pits, pull that trigger. It is 15 minutes left, so we're definitely in that window. Nathan Burney, was that him coming into the pits as well? Daniel Byrne, it was coming in, okay. So, definitely inside that window now. And those early safety cars really would have made a big difference to that fuel window. But the front 5 still staying out at the moment.
Front 6. So Vela, Pocock, Gowans, Platter, Gallo, Lydon, all those boys have now stayed out. All the drivers who had pit, it's going to take me a deep breath to say this for a moment here. Gardner, Gerard, Brooks, Byrne, White, Cuttajar, Swadling, Dixon, Verney, Loretti, Simpson, Hodgkinson, Edwards, Malloy, Hudson, Edwards, Schmallenberg, McIntyre, Tessiero and Johnston have all come in, and then Sopart and McCartan is out, safety car driver, but Sopart is still in there after his incident. So he must be, fixing his car pretty much. I think he's already used the fast repair.
After you read out all those names, I just worked out what was strange for me tonight. My naming nemesis is actually not here tonight, so there's no Danny Matisic or Matisic or Matesic or whatever you want to. Danny's not here tonight, so that's why my broadcast is going really good. I haven't butchered a name. That's because Danny didn't rock up.
Yeah, and of course we haven't had Scott Barton this season either. So Jake Edwards, a big moment here. What's he done to himself? Oh, ran wide and a wild ride into the tyres.
And that's a broken car. Is that going to be a safety car? No, he's towed straight away, has he?
I think he may have.
Oh, that might be a really good for him next race if that's the case. Something Race Control does not like. Phil Vella now. So Phil Vella now, I said nothing has happened to Bruce, he's pitted. Yeah. So, I have a look at the lead cars that are pitted at the moment. Nathan Gardner, though, he pitted back on lap 1, so that doesn't really count. It's Daniel Byrne and Bruce White, so I think Daniel has managed to undercut Bruce in that process there, or has got it done on the track since.
I reckon what's happened is Daniel's actually realised that he needs less fuel to get home, and I think what Bruce has done is he's actually filled to get to lap 35 still. Because the pit stop, his pit lane travel time was 3 seconds faster. He did a 3-second faster pit stop than what Bruce did, so he's definitely filled the car less.
Stationary time or the transit time?
So the stationary time, it's for both. So the travel time for both, Daniel Byrne did it in 30.45 seconds. Bruce White did it in 33.25. Daniel's pit stop stationary time was 4.92 seconds. Bruce's was 7.23.
That Bruce took on more fuel. Yeah, you're right. I think you're right there. That might have cost him. Maybe forgot to have the auto fuel set, or as you said, auto fuel is still working out off your max fuel consumption, not the amount of time that's left. So it could also be that Daniel Byrne has short-filled himself by 1 lap, and may have to do a massive save. So I love these sort of questions when they come up, buddy. It adds that extra bit of spice and gets us thinking.
Also, none of them have actually taken tyres, because it takes 9 seconds for tyres to get put on.
Yeah, tyres are an added thing. I mean, generally you'll find that just the cool down cycle of going into the pits will breathe some life back into those tyres.
Yeah.
And here's this Michael Cuttajar and Doug Gowan and Daniel Byrne here at the moment. I think that was Doug getting past Daniel there. So Doug, who is also pitted right inside the window. Okay, Stephen Brooks in the pits now, but the shuffle at the top, well, Phil Vella has pitted and come out 4.1 seconds ahead of Scott Pocock, who has pulled off a nice undercut there in the pit strategy, got himself up into P2. And Doug Gowan's the grandpa. He's stolen a couple of spots as well in that exchange of pits rounds there, and he's up into P3. So, some pretty good strategies from a couple of those boys. Brought him right back into the mix.
So that pit stop has actually really hurt Bruce White, because all of the drivers ahead of him have saved around about 2.5 to 2 seconds in that pit stop over him. So he did as mentioned, he did 33.25 for a pit lane travel time. The rest of them did from around about 30.12 up to 31 seconds in the pit lane travel. So that's what really cost him there.
So he's definitely put a bit too much fuel in the car, maybe, and a bit conservative. And maybe some of these other guys have got their numbers worked out right where they need to be. All right, well, we are inside the final 10 minutes of our race. It is round 6 of the Shannons Formula 3 Nationals here on Sim Racing World TV. If you are enjoying the content, please give us a like and subscribe. That way you don't miss out on any of the great action. Of course, big thanks to all of our sponsors, our round sponsor, Warren and Brown Tools, our promo department, our safety car sponsor, the fastest lap, and in qualifying, the Racecraft, giving their support there, and of course our other big sponsors, Grim Industries, 10 Big Sweets, Rare Spares, and Sim Rigs. Great to have you all on board. All right, Mitch McIntyre had a moment, did he? Oh no, and it's at Moss Corner. Well, Moss Corner has had its fair share of victims tonight.
I reckon we could rename that corner to Spinovich Corner, because there's been so many spins. Just let it still pass.
You're going to call it Spinovich Corner. Well,
Yeah.
I don't... Well, Sterling Moss is not alive for you to argue that point, I suppose. But, he got the name for... He thought of the idea of that corner just to spice things up a little bit, and it certainly has done its job tonight.
Oh, I think Sean Malloy might have a bit of a gripe with him on that one, to be honest, but that's his fight to have.
Where is Sean at the moment? He has done a bit of a recovery drive, sitting in P19 at the moment, but he might well be ruining taking that corner just a little bit too hot. But it also says a lot for the speed of our front runners in this league, that these guys feel they need to push every lap to stay out there. If they don't push, then
It's
they
so
just get
tight.
gobbled up.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think I'm finding that a little bit this season in the V8 EMs series, because we've had quite a few quick EM guys come in, and I can't seem to qualify near the front, so I'm getting caught in those mid-pack battles. And that's where, you know, the action good and bad is sometimes. All right, well, Phil has got this lead out almost out to 5 seconds over Doug, the Grandpa Gowans, who has had a spectacular run. So all three of these guys running longer. So maybe they're able to put a little bit less fuel in, going that one lap longer, because Phil Vella, Doug Gowan and Scott Pocock, all three of them jumping at least 2 or 3 positions, except for Phil, of course. But Doug and Scott jumped, and Doug's up 9 positions as well at the moment, so having a cracker of a race. David Gallo, he's also having a great run as well, up in P7 at the moment, up 10 positions. So, good recovery there, and another one of those drivers that pitted on lap 21.
So there are 3 drivers at the moment who have actually gained the most positions in this race, although I was saying that Doug's just got another one there, because Gowans has actually had a moment.
Gowans, and that is at Moss Corner again. So Moss Corner claims another victim by the looks of it. It's just so easy to go in that little bit too hot, try and rotate the car. You see, he's just gone deep. The safety car moments or something has continued to happen here.
It was Adam Simpson out at turn 1.
Oh,
Catches the grass and
bang into the wall. Yep, and car broken. And I think this is maybe where we're starting to get. Look at that there. Race control have had no option to call the safety car out because the car's on track. I think in a couple of those other ones where they haven't called it, the car's been off the track and outside the racing line.
Yeah, I'm just going to make a claim right now that Adam should have actually had that incident within the next 2 minutes instead of right then and there, because that would have actually then given me the bet win. But anyway, regardless, we move on. But just under 5 minutes to go, about 5.5 minutes to go in this race. You'd surmise we're probably going to get about 1 or 2 laps under safety car. Probably actually going to get to lap 28, 29 maybe under green. So yeah, we're getting pretty close to that lap 30 mark, which we did talk about. So Sean Malloy also back into the pits as well, so he must need some fuel.
All right, so there's a few wave rounds coming through at the moment. So I think it was Matt Tessier getting a wave around. Greg Johnson should be on for one. Mitch McIntyre maybe as well. Jake Edwards, I don't know if he's close enough to take advantage of that. It's likely they'll only get the wave around for this lap.
Yeah.
But at the moment, Phil Vella, well, he's been Mr. Cautious. got his way right through to the front of the field once again, and he will have control when we go green. Scott Pocock, well, he's having a great race as well, up into P2 at the moment. Daniel Byrne, up 5 positions, the driver 808 from Kittens Racing. We haven't really talked a lot about Daniel tonight, but he's been right in the hunt there. And Bruce White, our leading AM driver on track, with a long fuel stop. Maybe got a little bit too much fuel on, but that's all been nullified for him, and now he's got P4 and guys close. So he's shown that he can handle a car with those tyres not quite up to temp. So I think we're going to see a few sort of bold moves here as we get towards the end of this race, buddy. But we're only going to get a couple of laps of green flag running, I think, buddy.
I tell you what, I would almost prefer Daniel Byrne to be in P2 right now, because the prospect of the battle between him and Phil Vella for the win of this race, not to take anything away from Scott Pocock, but the two most probably dominant drivers we've seen in this series since we started commentating it together, Phil Vella and Daniel Byrne, that is a main event caliber fight that I would pay so much money to see. And Scott is right in the middle of this. He's almost like the referee between them, isn't he? Just kind of holding them back between each other. So it could be an interesting final couple of laps here,
Cowy. The meat in the sandwich here, Scott Pocock.
Maybe.
So he's going to have to be on his game. He's going to have to watch the back diffuser of Phil's car like a hawk, and the moment he goes, he's going to have to react. Bruce White, Michael Cuttajar, again, well, it'd be interesting to see how Bruce plays this, because he knows that he's near the front as the leading AM driver. He'd love to be a pro podium as well. I think he has done that before in the past as well. I've also seen him thrown away a race from P1 as well, which was a bit unfortunate. But these things do happen.
Yeah, I would argue at the moment Bruce White is probably actually at the top of my list right now to be driver of the night. Because even though
he's
Phil's
having
been
a
ultra
cracker.
dominant, you know, we kind of expect it from Phil, and as you were saying, Bruce is at an absolute cracker. I would argue he's probably actually been the most impressive out of anyone. I mean, he's taken it to the pros. He's leading the amateurs by 6 positions at the moment. He's definitely putting his name in that ring, I think.
I think you're right. Look, I'm just trying to have a look through the field there, and I think sort of some of the other guys that were big movers in race number 1 have had things sort of leveled out for them a bit in race number 2. I know Adrian Loretti's up 10 spots at the moment, but he was up a similar amount in race 1 before it all came undone. Same with Matty Girardi's up 10 in this race, but he's been involved in a couple of incidents in race number 1. So yeah, I think you're right. Like David Gallo's up 11 spots, so he's having a cracker in this feature race. But starting P17 in the first race. All right, Phil has gone. Scott Pocock got caught a little bit, but Daniel Byrne has read it perfectly. And he's going to try and go up the inside into T1. No, he's just going to try and put that pressure on. But we are almost 39 minutes gone, so we're going to get this lap and maybe one more. So it will be a 2-lap dash to the finish.
See here how hard these guys push, knowing that these tyres would have cooled down just a little bit from that safety car period. I was going to mention it, but you took the words right into my mouth there, Cowy. Likely 1.5 laps left to go in this race, so there's not long to go for Phil Vella to hold these guys off and take another win, another double-double here tonight for himself. This Pocock
decent exits there, but I felt like Scott bogged down a little bit on that exit, so Daniel Byrne getting a run on him now, and it's going to go sweep around the outside. We'll see if Bruce White takes advantage of this here as well. And Daniel Byrne has got that done, but Phil Vella with a 1.1 lead, 1.1 second lead on him now. Has he done enough to get clear with one?
Oh, that's a big wiggle from him.
From Daniel Byrne. That's going to put him right under the pump. Oh, close between him and Bruce White. Great racing there. They were millimetres apart. And Michael Carter behind there. He's putting the pressure on Bruce White. This is a great battle here, except for Phil Vella running ahead like Max Verstappen. We're watching P2 at the moment, buddy.
This is the battle that we kind of care about at the moment, isn't it? Because we knew Phil was going to have the jets turned on.
He's
This
checked.
is one.
Well, Phil's checked out, and then, you know, when you got the guys behind battling, that just means that all he has to do is focus on his lines, where Scott's looking in his mirror, Daniel's looking in his, Bruce is looking in his, and they're all trying to look forward as well. And there's only that's David Gallo's got a bit of a run on Michael Cuttajar back in the background there too. So there's quite a bit going on this. Are we on final lap, or I think we might have one more?
We are on the final lap. This is the final
Oh,
lap.
Daniel Byrne trying to get around the outside as he got up the inside.
Oh, there's been contact!
There's contact from Pogo.
Oh my God!
Brakes. Oh!
And I'm sorry that we
We've
did
got
miss it. Phil,
controversy as we come to the end of the race, but it is Phil Vella who will take out the double victory once again. Not the first time he has done that here at SRWtv. Bruce White with a P2 Pro, P1 AM result. Awesome drive from him, and I think as you have called it, Hamish, he should be our driver of the day. Michael Cuttajar, P3, doing enough to keep his points tally ticking along for the championship. And Daniel Byrne, he's missed a few weeks away on a cruise, but he has come back and right into the mix again. Just couldn't quite get it done with only a couple laps to go. And David Gallo, his teammate, running out the top 5, buddy, with up 12 spots in this race with a great drive.
So there is the sort of the end of what happened to Scott Pocock as he pulled away. Let's just see here if we can get the actual moment that happened.
Wow.
I believe Jay Dixon was involved as well, so they come round, big contact.
Oh.
Then here comes Scott across track. That is Jay Dixon that he did hit. Jay tried to avoid it, but could not do anything. He was just a passenger at that point.
Oh, it's hard to tell if Scott even had an option to hold brakes there, because that car bounced off those tyres with a lot of energy. So, but wow, a bit of controversy and shenanigans right to the death. And wow, what a mammoth racing. Well, both races were awesome here tonight, buddy, but Motorsport Park, and these guys love it. You could see them pushing hard, and we were never just more than a moment away from disaster, and it did prove to be the case for a few of our drivers tonight.
So, Greg Barber's also been in the chat as well, just saying, exclamation point chat. I'm not sure what he's trying to tell us there with that one. But here
it will be interesting to see what happens.
Results here tonight. Phil Vella takes out the victory for Downforce Racing. He goes double on the victories here tonight. He's now won a race, I believe, for the past at least 4 rounds. Bruce White comes in home in P2 overall, P1 for the amateurs. Michael Cuttajar comes home in P3 overall, P2 for the pros. And then Daniel Byrne makes up the podium for the pros, but just misses out on an overall podium here tonight in the feature race. David Gallo comes home P5, Chris Wadling P6, Adrian Loretti P7, Craig Platter P8, Matthew Gerard in P9, then Andrew Lydon in P10. Now, I'm unsure what class Matt Gerard is, whether he's pro or whether he's amateur.
He's an AM. No, he's AM.
Okay, so he makes up the amateur podium then, alongside Craig and Bruce. And then, Nathan Verney, P11, Callan Hodgson, P12, Nathan Gardner, P13, Stephen Brooks, P14, Sean Malloy. A nice little comeback there to make up the top 15 for us here tonight. We'll then scroll on down. There is the rest of the field for us, but it was a very impressive victory.
Jay Dixon, the other person that lost out big there with that contact on the final corner, bound P16. But yeah, look, a pretty crazy night of racing here at Motorsport Park. But let's bring in Matty Gerard, our P3 finisher for the AMP, finishing P9 tonight. Matty, mate, she looked like she was on for all money in the mid-pack there, buddy. Stuff going on everywhere.
Oh, my God. What a race that was, eh? Yeah. Well, what can I say? Last week I kept out of all the incidents, and this week I was creating them for myself. Plain and simply.
look, Motorsport Park and an F3 car, it looked like you guys had to sort of keep it on the limit, pretty much the whole time to just hold your spot. We will get to your drive in a moment, Bruce, but Matty, we saw you in the wars in race number 1, but you've done well to survive the incidents of race number 2 and pitted at the right time, buddy. That got you a couple
Um,
spots as well.
Well, Cowy, I'm not sure what race you're watching, mate, but I crashed out on the first lap and caused the first safety car.
Oh, you did too. You're right. I apologise.
No,
In the end, I suppose that enabled you to go an extra lap, maybe, and that's might would have helped.
yeah, I think it did help actually, to be honest with you, because I did chuck. Hey, it was only about a litre of fuel in, but it gave me the extra lap, and then it was just go for it and hope I didn't come off again, and I didn't. I don't know how that last turn on the very last lap comes and goes. Theoretically, I suppose I passed under a yellow. So whether or not Andrew wants to have a look at that or put a report in for that, I don't know. But at the end of the day, hey, I'll take the third place for now and go home smiling.
Awesome, buddy. Well, congratulations on your P3. Give us a big shout out for your team there, buddy, and who's giving you all the support.
Oh, right. If only I had it up in front of me. So it's Velocity Sim Labs is who I'm racing with. Look, just thanks to all the boys involved with the team. Thanks to Grandpa Doug Gowans. He did some coaching with me throughout the week. So big thanks to him and the rest of the boys, as well as Steve for doing all our liveries and keeping us true and honest.
Awesome. Well, Hamish, you want to take the questions for Craig? Because I know he was right in the thick of things as well there, buddy. But, lead it away.
Well, I mean, Craig, congratulations to you, mate. A P2 here tonight for the amateurs. You were also one of only 5 drivers to actually make it home on only 1 stop. So you were actually one of the cleanest drivers out there. And it has provided you with an absolutely monumental P2 in the amateur class. You're also one of only 2 D-class drivers out there. I mean, that race... it was all about your position management and also keeping your head straight. And I think you did a very good job of that. How was that one for you, man, in terms of getting in those battles, staying in that mid-pack and just trying to chip away and make those positions up?
It was tough. I've been doing a few test races with James Rice, a good friend of mine, and it was all about just trying to not go so hard on the tyres early so they'd hang on and trying to tell yourself to slow down when you know you can go quicker is probably the hardest part. Otherwise, if you went too hard, the tyres just got greasy and you'd move around and slide and then they'd just get worse. So managed to be able to only do it on 1 stop, which was good. That's how all the practices were going through the week. But bit annoyed to have thrown away a possible chance at leading it early on. But that corner got me every practice session I did there. I just could not for the life of me get it right. But come away with P2. That's awesome. There was some really good battles through there. I knew it was going to be tough. I just had to stay on track. And, when you got some of the quicker guys, the names coming through and they're behind her and they're gaining and you're really sort of just watching your mirror a lot and seeing where they are and trying not to run them off the road because it was a very easy thing to do here.
Yeah, well, I mean, you did an absolutely incredible job to come home. I mean, not only on the podium for the amateurs, even into the top 10, beating out a couple of very notable pro drivers in Nathan Verney, Sean Malloy, Jay Dixon, and even Scott Pocock, who was involved in that incident on the last lap at the last corner. But I mean, massive congratulations to you, mate. Let us know who's giving you support because you've done an absolutely monumental job to get where you are.
Thank you very much. So massive shout out to NLRA, Nick Leonard Racing Association. He takes care of all of us and manages us properly. And without him, this wouldn't happen. UDTV, Brett Wheeler, James Rice, the engineer for the night. He's been watching me and seeing what everyone's doing, and it's been a massive, massive help. So Cartworks, obviously the series sponsor, Shannons Insurance, the guys at SRW for putting this on. This is awesome. I'd never driven an F3 till this race started, so not bad for an old dirt driver.
Oh, well done, Craig, mate. Awesome result there, buddy, and congratulations. All right, so now we go to Bruce White, P2 Pro, P1 M overall. Bruce, mate, you found yourself near the front with a great drive in P1, getting inside the top 10, buddy, and they were hounding you for a long time there, buddy. How's the nerves?
Yeah, mate, I'm still getting over it. Yeah, this is good fun, but yeah.
Well, I know that this is one of your favourite tracks in this car combination, man. So you just felt on tonight, did you? And I know there was a couple of close, maybe brown pants moments, buddy, but you survived it and drove through. But yeah, this is one of your favourites, isn't it?
Yeah, favourite track. The car, I've actually never driven the car here before, but yeah, the track is a good track. Yeah, I love it.
Awesome, buddy. Well, how was it at the end there, man? Well, we saw that was it uh was it Daniel or Michael got a run on you there early, and then sorry, it might have been Scott Pocock that got a run on you, and then they got past you going down into T1, and then made. Oh, sorry, no, it wasn't. It was Daniel Burney made a mistake. That looked like there was inches in it.
Yeah, possibly, yeah. I just hang on when stuff like that happens, man. It's sort of you got to hope for the best, don't you?
Oh,
All right,
Bruce.
buddy.
Just quickly as well, we want to just announce as well that we have actually voted you to be our Tempting Sweets driver of the night. So you will be getting some sweets coming your way because you had an absolutely ballistic race and you did so well to get where you were. And I mean, to finish P2 overall amongst all of the pros pretty much, and then to finish P1 in the amateurs, I mean, we could not put it past you as the selection tonight.
Well, thanks very much, guys. I really appreciate it.
Now, buddy, it still says you're a privateer in here. We know you're racing with Jason, Jet, and the boys. Have they got the team livery on this car as well, buddy?
Not yet, no. I asked him about that. He hasn't made one yet.
All right, so you say you're not going to give him a shout out then, eh?
I'll give him a shout out, yeah.
Well, buddy, let us know what team's giving you all your support, mate. Congratulations on your P2 and P1 AM class, and I'm sure that's going to, be a nice healthy chunk of points in the championship.
You might hopefully make up a bit of last week. That was a bad week last week.
Dark, man.
Hey, sorry, I'll just give this shout out before I forget. So, Lodgy Brothers, Dubby, NZ Performance, Wade Boylett Mechanical, Litz Driving Performance, OKMS Photography, Majors Garage, and JM Designs, and all the boys at LMR Esports.
Awesome.
And here we go. I done it again.
It's all good, buddy. We know that Jace was giving you a good shout out there in the chat, so he's watching. So, but congratulations, buddy, and a great drive. And geez, I'll have to start pulling my finger out because I think you beat me in the V8s too, buddy. So you're driving well, man. So well done.
No worries, mate. Thanks very much, guys.
Cheers, boys. All right, let's bring in our race winner. Again, it does look like our resident phantom, Michael Cuttajar, has not appeared in the green room. But Phil Vella, P10 to P1, where you said you were going to play it cautious, buddy. We saw it early on. You'd only made a spot or two from the start of the race, but they kept dropping like flies in front of you, buddy.
Yeah, I got lucky with a few folk making mistakes at kind of Moss, and I had a few kind of fights for position, but they were pretty clean for me. But yeah, it was like I'm covered in sweat at the moment. It was a hard 40 minutes.
So how close were you losing it yourself at Moss? Because it did seem to be the corner tonight that everyone was struggling with at times.
Yeah, I nearly, I dipped one tyre on kind of the, there's a little bit of runoff there. It's only very narrow, and it was whilst I was cracking a joke with my teammates that it would be unfortunate if I lost it at Moss. So after that, I just decided to shut up and concentrate and try not to do that again. But yeah, it's a bit of an odd corner. It's a little bit blind. There's a bunch of kind of undulation and elevation changes through it that make it a little bit hard to judge for that run onto the back straight.
And how are Sean and Jay feeling? I think Sean would be feeling like he threw that one away. And I mean, Jay probably no fault of his own with what happened there at the end. But how are the boys feeling?
I don't yet know what happened at the end. So like I was actually quite surprised when I saw the kind of finishing lineup. So yeah, I'll have to go and have a look at that. I heard some of the kind of noise in voice chat, but I was just kind of in the zone, so I don't know what's happened yet.
What about Sean though? He must have been gutted because he got right to the front early on, and it looked like it was going to be his race to lose.
Yeah, Sean drove really strongly. It's a hard track for any mistakes like that. It's either
It's
grass and
Montana.
wall, or yeah, you either spin and you come back onto the track and you get collected, or you hit the grass and you hit the wall, and that's not a fun time. And then that back straight is just long enough for you to get alongside folk, but not really, not unless you've had a great run out to kind of clear them. And so, given the heat in that last section, it wasn't flat through those last few corners either. The rears started to really protest after about lap 11, lap 12. The safety car was nice to kind of take some of the heat out of the tyres, but also unfortunate because I was like, I've got enough of a gap here to kind of back off a bit. But yeah, that's just the way it played out.
Well, buddy, you've done it again. A double P1. So you're starting to put your dominance on this series. Though we did see Michael got some good points,
Yeah.
but he had about 44 points, I think, on you at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see how that closes up. But the competition, with a few rounds to go, buddy, it's pretty tight, and it seems like on the night it could be anyone's race.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, as I was saying before, the qualifying times are quite close together. To look at the split here and a 40-minute race and the top 12 are within that time. It's pretty incredible. Actually, Bruce White's drive as well. Like, that's an incredible result for him. He's done really well, as have Craig and Matt Gerard. All putting it in the top 10 there.
Oh, it's awesome. I think you're only being nice to Bruce because he sort of didn't really fight you there, did he?
Oh, look, I think we're on kind of two slightly different races. I had a good run out of that corner. I got some clearance. I actually think it's slower in the draft here than it is when you've got kind of the clear air, just because you lose so much front downforce through those longer corners. So, yeah, I was kind of pretty comfortable managing that gap. But yeah, you had really good pace though.
Oh, awesome, buddy. Well, congratulations once again. We probably should all know your sponsors off by heart by now, the amount of times that we've heard them. But Downforce Racing, you guys are certainly no lockout tonight, but still good enough to put one of yours on P1, mate. You've done it again, so let us know who's giving you all the support.
Yeah, thanks, guys. So I'd like to thank Downforce Racing. As always, it's a privilege to be part of the team. Awesome fun to have the opportunity to race in this series with Jay and Malbs. I'd like to thank Doug, Chris, and Scott for hanging out with us in the Discord and just making it, a fun race to rock up to and chat with the boys. I'd like to thank my wife for making the time and space for me to enjoy this hobby. I'd like to thank work for the cash to buy the sim racing kit as well. And then I think for me, just a big shout out to the series sponsor, Shannons Insurance. What a great supporter for a series like this. Warren Brown Tools is a round sponsor. Promo department for the safety car, which I saw a fair bit of the back of tonight. Racecraft is the qualifying and pole position sponsor, and obviously my favourite there, Tempting Sweets. Really appreciate their support.
Well, you'll be happy to know that Bruce took out the Tempting Sweets award for tonight, so maybe he might share a few of those lollies with you, buddy, seeing you gave him a good shout out. Well done, buddy. Great to have a chat to you once again, mate, and good luck for the rest of the season.
Thanks, guys. Have a great week.
Well, Hamish, we did predict a bit of Mosport mayhem tonight. Did it live up to that? I think it did.
I would agree with you, Cowy. It definitely did. I think it was one of the best. I think this was one of the best track car combinations we've actually seen all season. It led to some absolutely phenomenal moments throughout, some absolutely wild crashes, which we do love to see because it leads to a bit of fun viewing. It means that, a race without crashes is a little bit boring sometimes. Sometimes you can get races, though, where you get some good strategy plays, which can make it fun, but there is no substitute for just the kind of carnage that we've seen this season. I mean, it's phenomenal.
I think what it is, buddy, is we just go back and look at those qualifying times when the guys are within tenths of each other, or even less, for a whole heap of positions, I mean, you could take any section, a 5-car section of that qualifying grid, and they're all within 2/10, right? When it's that close, it means that these guys are having to push on the limit to, make moves, to set up moves, to hold on to positions. And it just forces you to drive right at the edge of your level. Now, that'll do one or two things. You'll make mistakes, yes, but it'll also elevate your level as well. And then you see a performance like Bruce White putting at P2 in the Pro Series, an amateur. We've seen it before with some of the other AM guys really being up and right in the mix. And it, sometimes we look at these, the pro and am split, and we go, he's way too quick to be an amateur. But sometimes you just click with a track, and I think, Bruce clicked with Motorsport Park tonight, and some of the guys got caught up in all number of things when they're just competing against guys that are so close to them in pace. And it makes for great action, buddy, and that's what we got once again here at SRWtv.
Yeah, for sure, mate. Well, this will bring us almost to a close for tonight, Cowy, but we do, of course, have to do our wheel spin for the roulette series tomorrow night. So...
That's what I was looking forward to, buddy, because Shibby didn't have the roulette wheel up last week, and then I heard that they race at Radicals as well.
Oh, wow.
So I probably, if I had seen that, I might have actually been racing it. But as it happens, I couldn't make Thursday anyway, so I can't really use that excuse. But let's see what you've got in store for us, buddy.
Okay, well, just to remind everyone what is on the wheel, we have got the BMW M3 GT3, the Mazda MX-5, the Legacy 2014 V8 Supercars, TCRs, Toyota GR86s, or the SR8 Radicals, as well as the Legacy Ferrari 488 GT3. But let's get the wheel up, and let's get the wheel spinning to see what they get. And we get the BMW M3 GT3, which I don't believe they've actually had this season. It was one of the ones that we got on the second wheel spin previously, but I don't believe they've actually raced it yet.
More big front heavy car, drives well if you can get it to turn in. Where is the roulette racing this week?
We'll double check that. I will just quickly do the old classic second spin.
You do your second spin. I'll have a look and see where they are on the calendar.
It could have been the TCRs again. So, but no. So it will be the BMW M3
They are
GT3s.
at Long Beach, I think.
Oh, I'm watching that tomorrow night for sure.
Big, heavy front end BMWs at Long Beach. That will be perhaps a recipe for disaster, but we will see, buddy. But tonight's racing, mate, another cracker of a night. Awesome to have you back with us, buddy. It was a great call, and I'm going to give you the pleasure of wrapping it all up for us tonight, which has been an awesome night of racing here at Motorsport Canadian Motorsport Park.
No worries, mate. Well, thank you to everyone who joined us here tonight for round 6 of the Shannons Formula 3 Nationals here for season 3 here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. It's been an absolutely massive night of racing here for the Formula 3s. Next time out, we will be going to... Oh, now I've completely blanked on what it was, and I checked it earlier. We will be going to, just quickly, Road America next time out for round 7 of the Shannons Formula 3 Nationals. I've been Hamish Munro. This has been Andrew Cowan, your average sim racer with me. Be sure to give us a subscribe, give us a like, and click that bell as well so you are notified anytime we go racing across 4 nights in the week. The Sunday night Supercars Pro-Am, the Tuesday night Supercars Amateur Series, the Wednesday night Shannons Formula 3 Nationals, and then the Thursday night Shannons GR86 Nationals and the Warren and Brown Tools Roulette Series. You do not want to miss any of the action that we have coming up. We have got 3 rounds to go of Season 3 for most of our series. Of course, tomorrow night is going to be round 6 for both the Roulette and the GR86s, but after that, it is 3 rounds to go. So it's been a massive night of racing. Thank you everyone who's joined us here on SRWtv. Thank you as well to all of our sponsors, Shannons, Sim Rigs, Tempting Sweets, Grim Industries, Racecraft, Sim Magic, Dragon RC, Promo Department, Warner Brown Tools, Toyo Sim, and Camus as well. Thank you all for supporting the series. Thank you to everyone who's been watching us throughout this season. We look forward to seeing you next time out for round 7 at Road America. I've been Hamish Munro. It's been Andrew Cowan here on SRWtv for the Shannons Formula 3 Nationals. We will see you all next time.
into turn one. This is amazing. Up to clash heads again. This is like Chaz Mostert, Cam Waters, almost the